Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
We were working real hard, man, these last few hours. We went live last night. I think the live ended like around 3 in the morning. Then I got up early this morning to see what's going on, and it looks like it's being reported that there's no arrest made. Like, was all of that for naught last night? Was all of that hoopla another false flag? I don't know. I just tuned into JLR and listened to what JLR had to say about it.
So the media is starting to report in the last 30 minutes, no arrest made.
No arrest made.
This is another, what's his name down there, Rio Rico? There's been so many characters here. Carlos. It's another Carlos. Look, she's taking pictures of the house. Look.
Wow. All right, we're going to jump into this, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get back to him, but this is serious here, because it seems like they're kind of like, we don't know, right? Maybe they are going to make an arrest. Maybe they did find people who are connected to this case. I mean, there's this suicide aspect that happened last night where somebody took their own life. Ooh, I hope to God that, that this person didn't just do it for whatever reason. I don't know. Whatever. Just too early to tell. But if this ends up not being a lead, then it appears that they're just kind of just running from lead to lead without fleshing out these leads. And that would be a very, very, very bad thing for this investigation. But wow, I have no idea what's going on right now. We're going to figure this out. I know everybody's kind of waking up. I know I am. But we're going to jump into this, and we're going to start figuring this out. Let's do it.
For more, I'd like to welcome to the show former Judge Ashley Wilcott. Welcome, Ashley. Nice to see you. Let's start with what Jessica was just reporting on there for us with this third message sent to TMZ demanding money for alleged information. Does this sound legit to you, or is this just somebody trying to exploit the FBI reward?
So first of all, thank you. Honored to be with you. Second of all, you're always going to want to treat it as legit until you prove otherwise. Law enforcement does. The reality is when they say the main individual involved, you think, well, this might be somebody that has information, that does know who's involved. The difference between this and the first two, though, is the way that it's written, the language in it. And so it does not sound like it's necessarily the same person as the first, but you have to treat it as legit. Because what if it is?
Yeah, just the anonymity with Bitcoin, it just raises so many alarm bells and makes you think about so many other issues with this too. Why do you believe this person would want reward money up front rather than after an arrest was made, as is typically the case?
All right, hold on. Before we go any further, please hit that like button, support the channel, people. I know we're jumping in on Impromptu Live, but we're trying to keep you guys informed on what's happening on this case. And if you're new to the channel, this is Strategic Eyes. I'm an active duty sex crimes detective, special victims detective. And you're basically going through this evidence from a detective's point of view. So please do support the channel, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let's get into it.
Well, that's what makes you think maybe it's not legit. It's just somebody out for the money. That's all they want. But anybody who's sending a ransom note and saying, I can give you information about the main individual, anybody who's inclined to treat a missing person, a Nancy Guthrie as money versus a real person with compassion, anyone like that is always going to ask for the money first before they're going to give anything. It's a gig. They want the money. They don't care about Nancy Guthrie.
And Jessica, you mentioned that these first two notes, some were going to, Jessica, if we can bring you back in. Amy, you stay here. But going back to the first two notes, we know that they went to local TV, went to TMZ. This person in this latest note, Jessica, saying that they are going through TMZ rather than law enforcement because they don't trust them. Also not going through the family either, which is also interesting. We heard from Savannah Guthrie in the last day or so, or not heard from her, but she posted on social media this beautiful video of her and her sister. It appeared with their mom, this old video, a childhood video of theirs. But Jessica, do you know how the family has been told and advised that they should be acting right now, what they need to be doing for their security, and just, how much hope really is truly still there?
Yeah, so they are currently staying in a gated community. We do not know where that is. They have been hunkered down, sequestered themselves. Again, we know that they keep going back to Annie Guthrie's home, and there's been so many questions about that. Every time there's new evidence found, right, they go back to that inner circle and then start to work their way out. We know that.
All right, big shout out to members that's joining me today. I appreciate you guys immensely. You got Shayla in the building, Antique. We have Hidden in the Shadows, Poetically, Gotta Poop. That name kills me every single time. You got to do better on that name. Appreciate you guys immensely. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's keep going.
Law enforcement was over there the other day in an unmarked vehicle. They went into the home. They came out. They took some kind of paper bag. They also checked her mail. Whether they were looking for something specific or they were just assisting the family in some way, also unclear. You know, another interesting aspect to this, yesterday we saw pool cleaners here, Anna. And why is that significant? Well, the sheriff's department is taking even more heat for that, saying, okay, you have a crime scene essentially here. This woman is still missing. We have 24-hour surveillance, and guys are coming to clean the pool. What if there's more evidence to be found on location? Is that now going to be tainted? So, you know, this has been such a slow and long process. But in response to your question as to, you know, what is happening with the Guthrie family specifically, I would imagine at this point, they are really trying to hold on to hope. But it's you know, I would be remiss to make an assumption as to how, you know, her condition, but we have not heard anything from her. And as you mentioned before, she needs that medication, and let's just hope that she is okay.
Yeah, we're all crossing our fingers and toes for that, but time is really ticking, and we've been saying that for a long time now.
Yeah,
It feels
definitely.
like, and a strange detail, Jessica, about the pool cleaners. I actually had not heard that. It seems like it doesn't matter if the pool gets some leaves in it, if it turns a little bit green right now. It seems like, yeah, it's very bizarre there. Ashley, I want to fold you back in here. We have 3 people detained following the SWAT operation last night that Jessica detailed for us. Legally, what is the process that police have to go through in order to get that search warrant for an operation like that? Because you got to imagine law enforcement is really minding their P's and Q's here to make sure they do everything properly should these people end up being arrested and charged and have a day in court.
Absolutely. So the first thing they have to do is say under oath the reasons why they believe.
So why people aren't talking about this suicide, man? This is killing me. I don't understand. Like, nobody's talking about the suicide. Apparently last night, they had 2 traffic stops. One where a man was taken into custody. We have the pictures and the video of that guy being taken into custody. We played that last night. Another one where the Dolly Vision crew said that they witnessed a man kill himself in front of police. And then the private residence, the search warrant, the raid, where a man and a woman was taken into custody. People are saying it's a mother and a son. I would think that that would be news that would be covered, because why would a person kill themselves when the police are trying to stop them? Not even just that. But we remember earlier on that they were looking for a minivan. They were looking for a minivan, and apparently, or a utility van. It's either a work van or a minivan. I think it was a white utility van. When I say minivan, we're thinking about like the things that the soccer moms drive that I actually fantasize about buying. For some strange reason, I want a minivan. I don't know why, whatever. Different video, different show. We'll talk about that. To be precise, it was a white utility van. And this car stop was done on this white utility van, and it is at that car stop where the man killed himself. I got you, Aki. And nobody's talking about that. The white utility van allegedly was seen by Nancy's house during the time of the abduction. And allegedly a guy killed himself outside of a white utility van during a car stop. None of the news is talking about it. Absent of last night. Now it's like wiped clean from the media. What's up with that? People saying Brian Enton is saying that no arrest and they were released from custody, which is what I told you guys when we started the live with JLR saying that. Let's go check out Brian Enton. Aki, get me Brian Enton, please. Appreciate you. This is crazy. Let's keep going. Wow.
things. Number one, a crime was committed. And number two, evidence of that crime is located at the place where they're wanting that search warrant. They have to go to a judge who has to find probable cause. That's a very low standard. Probable cause is any evidence at all. Again, a crime committed, evidence at that location. The judge then signs the warrant.
First of all, real quick, I apologize, guys. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you beautiful ladies out there, and all you young men. Make sure that your sweethearts feel appreciated. People say, why do women get all these different days? First of all, Valentine's Day is for both people. If you're in a healthy relationship, you both should be giving each other stuff. All right. But women are special, and maybe I'm biased, but women bring life into this world, and they're the glue that keeps our families together. So yeah, they should get 2 days, Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. And it's the least we could do for the women in our lives that keep our lives moving forward. All right. So I love my women, the women in my life, and I have little gifts for them hidden away in the basement that they don't know. When we're done with this live, I'm going to go ahead and give it to them. I'm a little disappointed, though. I decided to shop locally and get flowers from a local flower shop instead of usually going through one of those online services like 1-800-Flowers. And I bought a nice arrangement. And when they delivered it to the house, it did not look like what it was advertised. So I'm very disappointed because the moment I tried to support a local business is the moment that I got disappointed. That sucks. Really does, because I thought I was going to really get a good value by going local. And no, never again. Anyway, big shout out to you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's keep going.
Then law enforcement can successfully execute the warrant. But keep in mind, they could only look for what's in the warrant.
Thank you for watching.
All right. So let's check out Brian Ensign. Let's see what's going on here.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. What a night it has been. There has been a SWAT situation that I've been covering for the last 3 or 4 hours. I was inside the perimeter because we were following the SWAT team. We got in and we know that at least one person has been detained. The neighborhood is still all closed down. It's raining out here. It's the first time it's rained since I've been in Tucson for almost 2 weeks. So I'm gonna walk you through everything that happened tonight, the latest developments. Is this possibly a break in the case? Everything that I saw, I'm getting into all of it, the latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. Hey guys, it has just been an insane 4 or 5 hours in Tucson. There have been so many developments, not only tonight, which right now if you're watching this, I don't know when you're watching this, it's Friday night. That isn't even, it's so late, it's actually after midnight now when I'm recording this. But the whole day was full of developments in the Nancy Guthrie case, which I'm going to get to.
All right, hold on here, because I think this one's too old for the Brian Ensign, where one of the viewers was saying Brian Ensign is saying that there is no arrest. This is old, 6 hours ago. I want to show you guys this from JLR because we keep discussing this, right? And this is the driveway for the house last night where they did their search warrant. And JLR is reporting, and this is huge, no law enforcement at their house, no law enforcement in the neighborhood, no crime scene tape. Neighbors tell me this is the house. No one is at the house. What's going on here? Where's Nancy Guthrie? This is not a good sign. If they got who they were looking for, this place would be locked down right now. Now, it is a little bit disheartening because that's what they were supposed to do to Nancy Guthrie's house, and they didn't do that initially. They didn't do that. But I would imagine that at this point, they learned their lesson. And if this was the house that they felt that Nancy Guthrie is in, or this had any evidentiary value, let's say Nancy wasn't here, but the people who kidnapped Nancy was here, this place would be shut down. Apparently, according to one of the viewers, we're trying to verify that for ourselves right now. But according to one of you guys in the chat, Brian Ensign is reporting that both people have been released. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt until I can verify it, and I will verify it momentarily. But wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is looking like what we say in the islands, a wild goose chase. All right? And I know we say that in America too. But it's looking like a wild goose chase. Let's keep going.
All of them. Let me start with really the breaking news, though. There was a SWAT raid, which I was actually at, which I'll get into the details of in a second. But we know that it is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. They went into a neighborhood about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house in Tucson, and they detained a man and a woman from the house, and they also detained a man from a traffic stop at a Culver's restaurant very close to that house. And I'm told that it's all connected. I'm told that it could be a mother and son who were detained in the house and maybe the brother at the traffic stop, but they're all connected. And the reason I know this is because I'm told by sources that they were waiting to move on the house until the traffic stop happened. And that this is all connected back to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, whether these are just people that they are looking into, whether one of them is someone that they're specifically looking to and they just detained them all for the time being while they question them, I don't know. But 3 people are detained according to my sources, at least as of when I am making this video. So let me back up a little bit. I knew that something was about to go down this afternoon. The search plane was up, which I was told was doing surveillance, and then I found out that the SWAT teams, the Pima County SWAT teams, were going to be staging, preparing for a possible operation tonight. And they've done that before, and nothing has really...
Oh, boom. So I got it. I see it here. Okay, so they're basically just they're grabbing for straws. So here's Brian Anton. Just tracked down leads, no arrests, and no signs of Nancy. This is 3 minutes ago. That's what Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos just told me about last night. And then Brian Enton says, the Pima County Sheriff tells local affiliate KOLD last night's operation was nothing more than a lead track down that led to a search warrant and no arrest. You know what this reminds me of, ladies and gentlemen? This reminds me of Iraq and Afghanistan. And people are going to say, what are you talking about, strategic? See, I'm a history buff. I'm a history buff. I love history. I love the military. I love warfare, but I love history in general. And if you go back to the Iraq and Afghanistan war, we had a lot of sectarianism inside of Iraq and Afghanistan. If you know anything about history, the country of Iraq never existed. That is a British construct through colonialism. And so you have different factions that would never live with each other in the same country if they weren't forced to. Now, not to take the show off the rails, what am I talking about? When America went into Iraq and Afghanistan, we didn't know who was the good guys. We didn't know who was the bad guys. So you know what people would do? They would just call the Americans on the tip lines and they'd say, hey, my neighbor is a terrorist. And then we'd go arrest them and send them to Guantanamo and send them to Abu Ghraib and all these different places. And they didn't even do anything wrong. They did absolutely nothing wrong. The opposition was literally using us to get rid of their competition. It's the same thing that you've seen in the hood. I grew up in Harlem during the crack epidemic. You know you want to know who got the drug dealers off this corner? The drug dealers on the other corner. It wasn't the good citizens. It was nobody. Everybody's too afraid to talk. You know who called the cops on the drug dealers on this corner? It's the drug dealers on the next corner. And I think that's what's happening now in Arizona. It seems to me that people just calling the cops on people they don't like, people they've been annoyed with, people who didn't mow their lawns and made your property value go down, people who don't take their garbage cans in after the garbage pickup and is there for the next 4 or 5 days. We all have those neighbors. They're calling the cops on those people, and the Pima County Sheriff is breaking down their doors with the SWAT team, hauling them in, and then releasing them because they had nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie. This seems like a wild goose chase, ladies and gentlemen. And the more activity we see from law enforcement, it seems like the farther away we get to solving where in the world is Nancy Guthrie. I think we could go back again to my childhood and we could say Nancy Guthrie is like Carmen Sandiego right now, man. How does an 84-year-old woman just disappear? That's the mystery of 2025, or rather 2026, excuse me. I'm still in the past. Let's keep going.
So much for having us.
Yeah, so I know you guys are doing a lot this Valentine's Day weekend in terms.
All right, let's go ahead. Back to this guy.
Transpired, but the sense was tonight something was actually going to happen. So I ended up going out to the 2 locations where I found out that they were staging. they moved from one location to another one very close to the target's house, which again was only 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. They moved in on the house in the neighborhood. It was 2 big, like Bearcat SWAT trucks. I would say maybe 24 deputies. Everyone was just a lot of armor. I mean, it was very, very serious. And I was told they were prepared for, you know, for the worst, really, prepared to have to go in with force. What happened, though, is luckily they didn't have to use any force. When they got to the house, and I was right there, I got into the police perimeter. I don't know how. I think just because me and Mo, I mean, you guys know how I am by now. Like, we were right there. We had good sources that led us right there. So we got in there before they put the police perimeter up, and we could tell that they didn't have to use force. The man and the woman surrendered outside of the house, and there was no issue there from what I could tell. And from what my sources are telling me. And at the same exact time, they were able to get a man from the traffic stop who is also connected to the same situation. Again, whether any of this pans out and they are officially, deemed to be part of this Nancy Guthrie investigation, I don't know yet at this point. But I know that this whole operation is connected to the Nancy Guthrie case.
I mean, people are saying, why would somebody self-end themselves? I mean, that's the question of the century, ladies and gentlemen, because it would appear that common sense would tell us that only somebody who is involved, with this situation would do something like that to themselves. But then once again, we don't have the police saying anything about it. We don't even have the news reporting it. Shoot, Brian Enton didn't even say nothing about it. He's not talking about the unalivened. In fact, the only people we've heard talk about the unalivened is the Dolly people. And I'm inclined to believe them. So I'm trying to wonder, like, what's happening here? Where's the cover-up? This is very weird. And if it's unrelated, people do that to themselves every day. It's very sad and traumatic. We always say, please go get help. Call the hotline. They're here to help you. But we got to ask ourselves, like, why would you not report, hey, you know what, this happened, but it's something, because remember, this is a big city. It's not huge, but it's a notable city, Tucson, and the surrounding suburbs. There's other things that's happening in Tucson. The crime is still happening. People are still ending themselves. People are being victimized. People are getting murdered. People are getting raped. People are getting robbed. Things are still happening in Tucson. The only thing is not just Nancy's disappearance. So maybe it's unrelated. It's possible. But they should tell us, hey, we know that the whole world is paying attention to this town right now. This happened, and we just want to let you know it's unrelated. They don't have to give us information on the other stuff. They can say there's other stuff that's happening. We're not going to give you information on that right now, but we do want to exclude this and let you know this person who unalived himself is unrelated to the Nancy Guthrie case. They can at least say that so that we're not out here wondering who's who and what's what. And they're not giving us any press conferences to give us any updates on what's happening out there. We have all of these citizen journalists out there, professional journalists out there, pumping tons of information to us, the citizenry. And the people who are supposed to be steering us in the right direction is dead silent. And that's troubling. And I think it's unprofessional too. Let's keep going.
So they pulled them out of the house. Or they came out of the house on their own, I shouldn't say pulled out, and now I know that they are conducting a search warrant at the house, which could take quite some time. Initially, it was mostly Pima County deputies, then a cavalry of FBI agents showed up. And I mean, like, a ton of FBI and evidence response unit. They all came into the neighborhood and showed up, and I was told that they were going to be there, like, all night long doing evidence collection. So it's a pretty big development.
ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brad, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. So we know that there was this flurry of law enforcement activity overnight, but not a lot made public just yet. What do you make of what we know about last night's operation?
So it strikes me, Whit, that these are two things.
My apologies, people. I'm so sorry. I still had, was I muted the whole time? Oh, you guys can't even. Sorry. I went off because you guys know I'm getting over this cold, so I went off to blow my nose. And then I never brought myself back in or unmuted myself. My apologies for that. So like I said, so we heard that 2 people were released. We haven't verified that, but we heard 2 people were released, and we didn't hear anything about the 3rd person. So we're going to go ahead and check out this update and see if they give us any news on that last person. Mind you, we don't have verification that 2 people were released. We're just hearing that. But we're going to at least see what they have to say about that 3rd person. Let's see what's going on.
Either tips that have come in, or in reference to the car, did it get picked up on a license plate reader? Did it get picked up on somebody's camera or CCTV? Who knows? But the point being, they must have felt in reference to the car that it had some relevance to, or potential relevance to what has happened. Now, we'll see if that really amounts to anything. The search of the residence, I think people got really excited, and rightly so.
Oh, hold on here. Just want to give you guys a warning. Remember, I'm still recovering from a bad cold. I have a lot of congestion. So there's going to be times you're going to see me go off of the screen. It's not because I'm fooling around or having a great time over here. I'm just taking care of business, all right? Because it's very unprofessional to do that on a live. So I apologize for that, all right? I'll remember to put myself back on and off mute again. So I do apologize, but let's keep going.
I guess I've done this too long. That's pretty routine. Again, probably a tip about something in reference to that house. May not be even directly that the suspect lived there or anything like that, but it has a link to this case. And so they carried it out and then they left. So fairly common behavior in this type of case.
And so, Brad, the DNA that authorities are now analyzing, what will they be looking for?
Well, think about the amount of DNA that's in your house, my house, etc. Workers that were there 6 months ago may have left DNA. But having said that, if they have found DNA that doesn't match any of the regulars, landscapers, family members, etc., into Nancy's house, it puts it in the category of it could be something. If you go to the gloves that they found, now granted, people drop gloves all the time, but what will be important is if a glove DNA matches the DNA they've pulled out of Nancy's house, then they may be onto something. Now, that's assuming that that DNA is in some sort of database that you can actually check it against.
Brad, in Aaron's report, we saw that specific backpack that's sold at Walmart. How could that detail really help people here?
Well, I'm sure Walmart, who cooperates with law enforcement every day, gave them a list of people that have purchased those backpacks. Now, keep in mind, Gio, that if you or I walk into a store and pay cash, we might be on their surveillance camera, but there wouldn't be any paper trail like we charge typically. So that's one aspect. What's the volume of sales of that backpack, and how far do you expand this out? So my guess is they've gone a fair distance outside, maybe Tucson, the obvious stores, if there's more than one in Tucson, to see where the leads go. This is a great example of what minutia you get into in these cases and how time-consuming it would be just to potentially run down the backpack.
And Brad, as we noted there, we're almost at the 2-week mark now. How does an investigation like this change as time passes?
Well, I mean, obviously the big concern is Nancy's well-being. But, it's a 2-track investigation, obviously. Finding her is number 1. But number 2 is you have so many leads in this case, Whit. I don't know that I see anything else dynamically changing. They're going to keep at all of these leads and see if they intersect someplace. In other words, let's just say that the car that they stopped has some relevance in this case, but they don't know what relevance. They get another piece of evidence and then plugs the car into it. So it's almost like a chessboard. And can you concentrate and push the evidence together some way that then points you towards an individual and perhaps a location?
Still so many questions. Brad Garrett, thank you for being.
All right, so I want to play some things for you guys. We had that sketch artist picture on our thumbnail for 2 days now. I want to explain to you guys where we got that from. A lot of people are asking me questions. This is it.
What
right
does
here.
he look like without the mask? That's the burning question as investigators search for the suspect in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping. Now the nation's best-known forensic sketch artist is using her skill and experience to create this sketch of the suspect. Lois Gibson achieved national fame for her 4 decades of work with the Houston Police Department. She says she came out of retirement to create this sketch because, like the rest of America, she wants to bring Savannah Guthrie's mother home.
What did you see when you looked at video of that suspect?
The bottom edge of his nose, and then that thick mustache, and then that hair below the bottom lip. He's young. He's below 40s, I believe. And other than that, he could be Latino, white, Lebanese, just any kind of race.
We want to make it clear this is not an official FBI sketch, and Gibson acknowledges her sketch may not be totally accurate.
The guy might have tattoos all over his face. I might have the facial hair wrong, but I had to try, and I'll take the hit if I'm wrong.
How many criminals have you helped catch?
I've helped solve more than 1,313 cases.
She's in the Guinness Book of World Records for most criminals positively identified due to the composites of one artist. Ironically, last year, Lois Gibson was featured on the Today Show, the morning show co-anchored by Savannah Guthrie.
She's made a difference in a lot of lives.
You are the first to admit that your sketch may not be completely accurate.
I'm willing to be brave and take a chance and make a mistake.
All right, so big shout out to Lucid Visionary Girl, $5 super chats. Thank you for all your hard work online and at work. You're appreciated. Thank you so much. And somebody said something. It's in the title. I missed it, but somebody said you should change your title. And I looked at the title and I did have one dead and I did change it. And the reason why I changed it is because last night we reacted to a video of Dolly Vision saying that they witnessed somebody being killed during a traffic stop in relation to this case. I don't know what's going on, but nobody else is reporting that. Nobody else is reporting that. So listen, I don't get into no YouTube stuff. I just react to stuff. Hopefully that stuff is real. And then, we can definitely try and figure out how it's connected to this, or maybe it's just a tragedy, but nobody else is reporting this information at this time. So we'll just leave it alone for now. Right? And hopefully it'll work it out. The person sounded very traumatized, and I sympathize and empathize with them for what they witnessed. Who am I to say that they did not witness it? I watched the video. The man was driving and he sounded heartbroken, and he sounded like he saw something extremely disturbing and traumatizing as he described the person unaliving themselves in front of him as he drove away. So once again, but we're here trying to chase facts, and we can't find that verified anywhere else. So for now, I'm just going to take that off of my title, and we're just going to keep that moving. But hopefully we'll try and find some information to corroborate that. Anyway, let's keep going, man. This is just insanity, to be honest with you. There's so many twists and turns with this case.
Fox News alert, developments in the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie are coming to light as officials issue a description of her possible abductor. We're also learning for the first time about crucial evidence found inside of Nancy Guthrie's home. Let's take a look at all the major pieces of evidence and clues so far. So the newly discovered image and video from the doorbell camera, that's going to be critical for that criminal profile. We'll get to that later. Nancy's front door camera was disconnected. That helps us with the timeline. The blood found on the porch was Nancy Guthrie's. That's also the patterns there. We'll get to that later. Can tell us what condition Nancy left in. The pacemaker lost connection with the phone.
When I look at that blood, and to be honest with you, the way that blood has pooled, it's almost like either a nosebleed or a hand injury, where you get cut on your hand and it's just dropping. I've seen a lot of blood splatter. I'm not a homicide guy, so I don't deal with like bloody scenes. But when before going into special victims, just throughout life, working in corrections, working the streets, I've dealt with a lot of people being cut accidentally, cut purposefully, injured, the whole nine. And so you just being a cop and doing corrections and being a police officer, you see a lot of injuries. I've also been cut because I like to work, do things around the house and stuff. So I've sustained injuries. And this is that arterial blood, it's not a nick. And it looks like somebody is holding their hand and it's dripping. Because when you get like that, and when I say arterial blood, I mean it's like that's that deep, rich blood. But like when you get the arterial blood, so rather scratch that. When you get that arterial blood, you cut an artery, it's squirting. It's squirting. It doesn't even look like coughing blood. No, people saying like coughing. No. When you hit that artery, it squirts. So you don't see it like that. It's more like a spray. That is like, I got a lot of blood coming out of my hands or my nose, and it's dripping, and it's hitting the floor from dripping. And it's almost like she's stationary or she's not moving very fast. That's a dripping blood. It's a dripping blood. And you can clearly see it. It's a dripping blood. Now, like I said, I don't deal with this stuff on a regular, but I am a certified and trained crime scene technician. I told you guys that that's part of my resume. And part of our resume is blood splatter investigations. Part of that training, rather. Now, I'm in all transparency, I don't use it because in my capacity, I do not do crime scene anymore. When I worked for corrections, we did our own crime scene. So everybody was trained to be a crime scene technician, certified for the state of New York. But now that I'm in the police department and I'm a detective, we have crime scene detectives. I don't ever tech my own scenes unless I'm collecting one piece of evidence, a panty or whatever on a known tool, and I don't deem that crime scene needs to be called in, because crime scene doesn't always need to be called in on my cases. Even the big ones, we don't need crime scene, because a lot of the big ones, the people know the individual who's doing it to them, and they say, well, this is where it happened, and this is what I was wearing, and this is the sheets, and you just take it and go about your business. And we're able to do that. So, but when I need crime scene, I don't do it myself. I call in the crime scene unit. But I did get training for blood splatter investigations as a part of my certification. And to me, from my professional opinion as a certified crime scene technician, who in all transparency is telling you I don't use those skills every day anymore. And from my experience as a man, as a human being, and my experience as a police officer, my experience as a correction officer, that is not blood splatter. That's not an artery that's pumping blood. It doesn't look like that. That's a drip. Those are drips. And those drips are either going to come from your mouth, a busted mouth with missing teeth, or you bust your mouth and you like cut the whole rim and you got a lot of blood coming out. Or it's going to come, but even then, I would say no, because that blood would be mixed with a lot of saliva, and the consistency would be much different than what we see. That's a nosebleed, or that is blood coming from an extremity. That blood doesn't look like it's contaminated with spit. It looks like it's just pure blood that's dripping from an extremity. What that would mean to me is that they roughed her up and they hurt her. They injured her. They cut her. She was bleeding. A lot of people aren't talking about that, though. They're just saying it's blood there, but they're not really talking about where that blood could come from. I think that blood came from an injury. Let's keep going.
It's again a timeline of everything that's happening. The alleged ransom letters sent to news outlets haven't been confirmed if this is the abductor yet. They also found, this is new yesterday, a glove found in Nancy's home. Now, this glove right here, we don't know if it's that exact glove, but we know there was a glove. And then finally, the FBI releases the description of the male, 5'9" to 5'10", average build. Again,
Somebody said, could that be drips from a body being moved from a blanket? Well, you got to use your imagination, Ethan. If somebody has you wrapped in a blanket, then you're going to get blood smear if they're pulling you. And if you're in if you're a blanket and you have blood just pooling like crazy, I think you get a whole lot more blood there than what we see there. It's a good question, though, but I don't think so. I think this person was walking. And they were injured and they were dripping blood as they were walking. The thing is that we don't know what inside of the house looks like because the Pima County Sheriff's Office never told us. The mystery to me is, how could this ever have been considered a missing person case for the first few hours if you have all this blood in the front of the house? That's what I don't understand. This should have been a kidnapping from day one. But aside from that, we don't know what the inside of the house looks like. We see that blood outside. What about the inside? The inside might be a massacre for all we know. For all we know, the inside might be a bloody massacre. Big shout out to Kimberly, 1428, celebrating 5 months as a White Shield member. Says, bring her home. And I appreciate you. And I agree with you. Thank you for supporting the channel as a White Shield member. Let's keep going.
The profile of the abductor and the suspect's brand of the backpack identified. We know that this backpack is only at Walmart or from this company online on their website. All critical for this investigation. Let's bring in Dr. Priya Banerjee, forensic pathologist. She's going to help us understand what the blood spatter on Nancy's front porch tells us.
Let's see what the expert has to say about it. Let's see. She's a pathologist. Let's see what the expert, maybe I'll stand corrected. Let's see.
About the state she was in. Dr. Banerjee, can you give us some information about the pattern of that blood spatter and the impact on this investigation?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me. This close-up is fantastic at showing that the drops are landing as circles, and there's different sizes, but you can see very large drops. And I use that word drops or drips. So that is a pattern you see in blood spatter that shows that it's falling directly vertical down. Like
What'd I tell you? What did I tell you? Listen, I only know what I know. I don't come on here to you good folks with all of my accolades and all that stuff just to blow smoke up your booties. I don't tell you about stocks. I don't tell you how to fix your relationship. I don't tell you how to raise your children. Sometimes I do. I'll only tell you what I know. And what I know is not because I'm a genie ass, it's because I've been doing it for 19 years. Let's keep going.
Perpendicular down from a height.
Does that make sense?
It's hard to say exactly where on the body it's coming from, whether it's the head or the hands. But it is dripping.
I said the nose and the hands. I said the nose or the hands. She said the head or the hands. She's the pathologist. She's the doctor. I'm just a dumb cop. Yeah, she's saying the same thing I'm saying. Let's keep going.
From a height. And so it's important to see that they're separate droplets. There's not a huge pool of blood, but there's definitely some sort of fresh injury that she's dripping from. And I can say she because it's been confirmed by DNA that it is Nancy's.
I want you to weigh in on this because Dr. Michael Baden has a similar theory to you, and I want to make sure you're on the same page here. This is what he said. Nancy Guthrie is bleeding from some area, either the hand or the face. The nature of the blood spots with little pale centers or donut shapes are typical for drops that come from the nose or the mouth because they're mixed with air. That means she's coughing up blood or dripping from the nose. Otherwise, there would be a dripping from a cut from above, possibly the hand or the face. Do you agree with that analysis?
I think if it's breathed out, it's finer, but if it's a drip, it's quite possible to show the pattern that's there.
Yeah, like when I hear that with all like coming from the nose and the mouth because air bubbles, that's like you doing too much. I never heard nothing like that before. And listen, that doesn't mean I've heard everything. The other day we had to go do a refresher training, and in this refresher training, they added the ME, which is something they never did before. And so the ME was walking us through their process and like doing autopsies and stuff like that. And it was amazing training because I was learning things about, you know, how they do their autopsies. And the problem was, it was a little disturbing, is that we were focusing on kids. So the topics and the photos and the videos of the autopsies were of children, which was very disturbing and sad, but it is what it is. It's a part of the job. So we gotta see that stuff and acclimate ourselves to it. The bottom line is, I learn things every day. So maybe what that person said about aspirating it and through the mouth, and then you have the air and it will change the weight of the droplets. I get it, but I've never heard anything about that. And apparently she's being kind, but you can tell she's kind of like, I'm not too in agreement with that. So let's keep going.
Some of them have a little bit more clearing, like target like, and others are more solid. So I don't know if it's completely respiratory, but it could be anywhere: the nose, the face, the head, the hands. And she's older, so I don't know what medication she's on, but we have to remember that.
And she's on blood thinners, definitely, because she had a heart issue. So remember that this could be a thing too. This is why I don't think that it could necessarily be that they hit her with a fatal blow or something like that. And guys, please hit that like button. We have 700, we were floating around 800 people on this live, which is a lot of people, man, because we're kind of just going over what already happened. So we're not literally breaking news right now. We just ask that you please hit that like button so we could get into the algorithm so the show could be shown to a wider audience. We need you to do that for us to grow. And we also would like for you to hit that subscribe button if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet. But we have to also remember she's on aspirin, she's on blood thinners. So even if she's just very mildly injured or cut, she's going to bleed a lot, whether it's from the nose or whether it's from an extremity like the hand or something like that. She's very old. She's on drugs, heart medications, and she's also on blood thinners. She's going to flow. All right. She's definitely going to flow. So the amount of blood may not be commensurate with the actual injury due to the medications that she's taking. Let's keep going.
She might be in have a medical condition or on medication that prevents her from clotting. So she could bleed quite a bit from just a little cut even, or a scrape. So yeah, you can see some of them definitely do have clearer centers and some are more solid. So it's quite possible it could be from the nose or the mouth. Again, the upper area or the hands as drips.
So Doc, I have a different question in a different lane, but you're familiar with these labs and how to get DNA.
What is the state of kids? I'm over here trying to negotiate with my son if he'll come with me to get donuts. He don't even want to go get donuts. He want to stay in the house. He told me it's too cold outside. When has a child ever said no to donuts? The world is over, ladies and gentlemen. Be prepared for the rapture. It's over.
How long does DNA typically last on an object or a glove in this type of climate, like outdoors? I mean, it's easier, I'm assuming, to contain that DNA when it's indoors on something that was dropped, but outdoors with weathering and all of that. Tell us about timetables on that.
Right, so there's
I don't mean to stop the lie, but I keep getting on my nerves. She got a whole husband at her house, and every time I drive by her house, she want me to drop her off some food. McDonald's, donuts. Tell your husband to go get you some donuts in McDonald's, man. Stop pimping your brother. Jeez.
a certain minute or hour, but you're very astute. So inside the house is going to be a more normal environment, right? Controlled. So that's going to be our best bet. Something outside, it is very hot in Arizona. It's exposed to the elements. I don't know if it's rained or not, but once it's secured, it's obviously in a better state. You do have to worry about the elements breaking down biological material. And so that is a risk. Now, technology's come a lot further where you can have even degraded DNA can be profiled. So I have a lot of confidence in the systems being used to type the DNA if it can be retrieved from the evidence.
Doctor, your expertise has been invaluable. Thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you, doctor. She did a good job. I love that doctor because she agreed with everything I said. She's my favorite. Let's keep going. Wow. All right. So we got the third email. I want to talk about that with TMZ. Third email.
TMZ has obtained a third email from the man who claims he knows the identity and the location of Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper, and he has now upped his demand. We know it is the same person who wrote the other two notes because the Bitcoin address is identical. So he says that he is going through TMZ because he does not trust law enforcement. He is essentially saying, you don't trust me and I don't trust you. What he is suggesting is by the FBI upping the reward to $100,000, it was designed to discredit him. He says, quote, to discredit me. So what he is saying is he now wants the following. He wants one fraction of a Bitcoin worth $50,000. And for that, he says he will give up the name and location of the kidnapper. He says he will not cash that until the kidnapper is actually arrested, and then he expects the second Bitcoin fraction, another 50,000. So he wants.
I don't think Bond James says, how do we know this tipster is real? Big shout out to somebody just joined the channel. I want to show them some love because I appreciate them doing that. Was it Lady Del Hay? I think it was Lady Del Hay. She said she just joined the channel. Very kind of you. Thank you for joining the channel, supporting us. We appreciate you. Whoever that was, I may have missed you, but I do appreciate you for subscribing. Now, I don't think that this person, Bond James says, how do we know that this tipster is real? I think this person's a faker. It's another person who's just trying to throw us in the wrong direction, who's trying to capitalize off of this tragedy. All of these people need to be sent to prison. We should actually legislate this, that if we do have these circumstances where there are ransoms and stuff like that, and people falsely try and impregnate themselves into this case. I said impregnate because somebody said they pregnant. It's in my subconscious. We need to send them to prison. We need to send them to prison. I'm telling you, let's keep going.
Wants the $100,000 reward, he says, but he wants it in this form and not simply coming forward to authorities. He has a variety of reasons on why he doesn't want to come forward to authorities, one of which is interesting. He says it's because that it could compromise his possible freedom. Now, we don't know what that means. Does that mean that he is peripherally associated with this kidnapper? He does not explain what that means, but he says it in this email.
Now, somebody said, don't doubt TMZ. Their information has 98% facts. I'm not, Misty Chicago said that. We're not doubting TMZ. TMZ is reporting what was sent to them. We're doubting the person who is sending them the information. TMZ is the conduit. All they're doing is reporting the email that's being sent to them. We are doubting the person who's trying to get in contact with TMZ.
Now, there's something really important here that he says that when he gets the initial payment, and this is a quote, he will give up, quote, the name of the main individual. The main individual. So clearly, he is suggesting, and he did insinuate this before, but he is saying it squarely here. The main individual, that means if this is legit, he has accomplices. So he does refer to the current state of Nancy Guthrie. We are not going to get into what that is. We have forwarded this on to the FBI. They asked for it, and we gave it to them. We received this email just before noon Pacific time, Friday, today. So, again, the third email, he says this time, this is it, that it's his final time to approach anybody. The third time is it. Now, remember, he said that last time, too. But
all right, so big shout. Auntie Thierry says, strategic, didn't you say that this was probably not a lone kidnapper? I don't trust this tipster, but I do agree, and I stand by what I said, that there's just multiple people involved with this. But I'm not going to use what this tipster says to bolster what I said, because I do not trust this tipster. But I do believe that multiple people were involved with this kidnapping. We may have only seen one person on camera, but it looked like there could have been two, depending on what video footage you're looking at. But I do believe that other people have aided and abetted this person in what they did with Nancy Guthrie. Big shout out to Miss Rue 32 McGee with a $20 super chat. Says, good morning all. Thank you, Strategic and Mods. Hashtag Black Bonnet Gang. Bonnet Gang. If you don't know, then you don't watch this show. We the Bonnet Gang. All right. Big shout out to you guys. Appreciate you for supporting the channel, Ms. Rue. You are amazing. And for the 814 people watching this right now, this impromptu live stream, we have at least 400 people who have not hit that like button. Please hit that like button, support the channel. We do appreciate you. We need to get into that algorithm. And Aura Moon UMTC with a $5 super chat says, here, this is for donuts for your sister. Okay. I told you I'm not getting donuts for Aki. She's pissing me off. I'm going to take that $5 and put it in my daughter's college fund. Boom. Hold that one.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking. I will get Aki a donut, okay? There's a Tim Hortons. They just opened. I'm going to Tim Hortons and get me one of those apple cider donuts, and I will put one in Aki's mailbox because I'm not knocking on her door because she's going to probably make me try and fix something in her house. All right, let's keep going.
He says he's coming forward now because of the increase in the ransom reward. And we will see. The authorities are looking at this, I guess, to determine if it's legitimate. We have checked this Bitcoin address, and so far, no deposit has been made.
All right, let's keep going, man. Wow. Okay, this is a traffic stop for the white van.
Joe, I'll go back to you. Okay, as you're watching this, again, this is
so this is the white van allegedly where the person took their life. Nobody's talking about this. So am I wrong, ladies and gentlemen? We were here last night. This is the white van where allegedly the person took their life. This is also not saying that this is the white van, but there was an interest in a white van that was spotted around Nancy Guthrie's home. So I'm so freaking confused right now because this is not breaking news come Saturday morning. Nobody's talking about this white van. Nobody's talking about the unaliving that occurred allegedly around this white van that YouTubers were alleging that they witnessed. So let's figure this out together, man.
we obtained of what this traffic stop is. We'll try to break it down in real time. What are you seeing right now?
Well, what I did see for a moment there looked like a white van, and perhaps
Wait. This is important because I've been eating a lot of Tim Hortons, their coffee and their egg white wrap. The Canadians said that they avoid it at all costs. Please explain in the chat why you Canadians avoid Tim Hortons. I don't want to grow a second head or something like that. Please do tell.
That vehicle right there, if that's the vehicle that they have stopped. And that would tie into this because remember, there was reports of a white van at the beginning of this. So you want to, maybe that's one of the leads they have to go down. What I wanted to say was you had a perfect guest on and you have a great guest on right now that can compare this to another great case that was worked, which was the Lacey Peterson case. And as Mr. Garagos knows, and as John knows, that there were people that were saying, oh, well, what about this direction? And the detectives had to go in that direction and just say that, no, it wasn't this because we ran that lead down as well. And that's what has to be done in a case like this. You just can't take for granted that these leads aren't tied in. But even if they aren't, it was reported. There was some credibility to get the warrant. And you have to say why something did or did not fit into the criteria.
So, Mark, here's my concern, okay? The lawyer in me, here's my concern. They're talking about collecting evidence. We may be seeing progress here. But you had a crime scene that was closed and then opened and then closed. And our very own reporter was there and was able to see the blood stains, walk right by it. You have an issue of gloves that were found seemingly baking in the heat for quite some time before they were recovered. DNA that was apparently found in the house when I mentioned.
So this is also something, somebody just made a good point that, just dawned on me. Sometimes you need somebody say something to put two and two together. They took the Range Rover. We watched it last night. Last night's show was really good. We got a lot of views because it was a very informative show. So if you haven't seen last night's show, make sure you go check it out. So last night we watched them take the Range Rover. They didn't take the van, where allegedly a dude blew his brains out. I don't understand what's happening here. I don't mean to scream in your ears, ladies and gentlemen, but this is weird and I don't like it. I'm putting the hat on. Why are we not talking about the dude who allegedly unalived himself outside of the white van? What's happening here? This is really weird, man.
Brian, earlier, I mean, I thought the initial reports were they found no forensic material in the house, and there was no DNA in the house tying back to a suspect. So even if they were to make an arrest,
people saying minus 80 said those were rumors. They're not rumors. A YouTuber was live streaming how he just watched somebody get their brains blown out. It's either it's the truth or it's a straight up lie. That's not a rumor. A rumor is doing somebody a favor. It's either it's the truth or a straight up lie. I want to know what's going on here.
it's a problematic prosecution, and I know you're not part of the case, but you see my concerns, right?
I do, and I don't think it's a coincidence that yesterday, I don't know, Jesse, if you were reporting.
All right, we got to
on
go
it.
back in the archives.
I assume you were, Brian must have, that there was what looked to be an evidence tent that was constructed at the house.
Yes.
My suspicion was yesterday that they were trying to create, based on the timing at the time of night, they were trying to recreate a scenario, if you will, that had the same ambient light of the time when that video was taken. And why would they do that? They would do that for a number of reasons. Number one, they want to try to isolate the actual colors of the clothing, of the various pieces of evidence.
All right, check this out. I'm not talking out my booty, man. I know what I saw last night.
Oh my God. All I'm going to say is, oh my God, I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to tell you what happened. Oh my God. Oh my God. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Never. Oh my God. My nerve, I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking. Oh my God. I wish I hadn't ran up on that. Oh my Lord. I thought it had something to do. Somebody, guys, was unalived.
You know? Somebody was unalived. That's what he said.
Was unalived with a weapon that goes bang to the head.
Oh my God! You guys not hear what I just heard?
Okay? We just ran up on a murder scene. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh my God.
Listen, that's what he said. Now, I never seen this one right here. Let's see what this says.
I'll let you guys get in here. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys.
I never seen this one.
I won't even tell you what I saw. I ain't gonna tell you what I saw. Oh my God. I was not expecting that tonight. You know when y'all see me running up, there's an unalived person on the ground. On the ground. Now they're reporting that there's an accident on the next street over from where they're at. I took that whole video down. I don't know what the camera seen or whatever it may be.
I don't know. Now I'm listening again. I don't even think that this was a self-deletion. I think that was erroneous reporting. I think he may have walked up. I'm not saying that this guy didn't see what he said, what he saw. I'm not in a position to say that. I would never diminish this guy's experience without having evidence. He either walked up to an accident or he walked up to some random crime, because they do have crime in Tucson. And he walked up to some random crime or something like that. I don't think this has anything to do with Nancy Guthrie, and I think it just got intermingled. So I don't know. So we're gonna stop talking about this because I don't want to be a part of any of that nonsense. Because I can see how this could end up turning into some YouTube nonsense, not with me, but just like the YouTube in general. And we stay away from that stuff. So we chase the lead, and I find the lead to be not credible, not on anything against the Dolly guy, but simply because I think he experienced what he says he experienced, but I don't think it's connected to Nancy Guthrie. And so we're going to move past it. All right, big shout out to Behind Blue Eyes with a $1.99 super chat. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication. Let's keep going.
They can spy through the video camera that they were able to retrieve. And this
is why we put the tinfoil hat on. You guys think I'm playing. The tinfoil hat, this is a special tinfoil hat. And it blocks out propaganda. It helps me see the truth. That's why when they try and, put the beams in your brain, you put the hat on. The hat may come off now because we have discovered the truth. Let's keep going. See, we need to send that hat. Whoever made me this hat, send me another one. I do want another one, though. Send me another one because, these things, nothing lasts forever. But this is so cool. I want to keep this forever. Send me another one so I can send it to the Sheriff Nanos. I'll let him borrow it. Maybe if Sheriff Nanos had a tinfoil hat, he'd solve this case already. Let's keep going.
This is speculation, but I think it makes some sense. If you take a look at that video of the Ring camera or Nest camera, you were looking at, there was a pretty good video.
Yeah, we're going to call, I keep forgetting to call him the name I gave him on day one. He's not Nanos, he's Thanos. I gave him that name first. He's Thanos. He snaps his fingers and make Nancy go away, make her investigation disappear. Sheriff Thanos. Let's send Thanos the tinfoil hat. Maybe he'll solve this case. Let's keep going.
A shot of the eyes behind the mask.
Yep.
Now, I suspect they've got iris biometrics, and I think somebody was trying to recreate the ambient light so that they could then tune up the video so that it would recreate what it would look like in order to see if they could do some kind of iris biometrics to identify somebody, like when you go to the airport for clear, if you're in DOD and you've got something like that, or even sometimes in some locations, the DMV. Now, fast forward a day later, basically, we've heard about this white van, and to the detective's credit, he remembers the brown van during the Peterson case, but that became a plethora of tips that you have to follow up on. So if they had the tips, they then found something yesterday during this kind of forensic experiment or recreation that they were doing. It doesn't surprise me that today they're following up on that and at least doing another search to see if what they've discovered so far pans out.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
All right. You guys like this guy? I don't really like him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. Whatever. Let's keep going.
Yeah, Katie, sorry, it's a little dark. We're in our car, and there is an active SWAT situation happening right now. Earlier, I reported that the SWAT team was staging. They have now moved in on a house in Pima County. And again, we're keeping our lights off because we're very, very close to where this is happening. And we don't want to interfere at all, and we don't want to reveal our location, obviously. We don't want to compromise the investigation, but I know that they have already, from what I can tell, pulled 2 people out of a house, and I know that this is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. That I have confirmed. Whether this is going to pan out in...
By the way, Brian is doing an amazing job on this investigation, man. I really like the work that Brian is doing. He's out there. He's boots to the ground. Him, JLR, these folks are doing the damn thing, man. Much respect to these guys out there really working the crap out of this case. Big shout. Let's give a yay to Brian. Oh, my God. Come on. I mean, Lord of mercy, man. If I was working as hard as them, I need like 2 showers a day. If I was working as hard, I'd be smelling like hot onions right now. I'm dead serious.
Oh, my God.
Like, those dudes are out there all day, all night, getting these leads, and I am proud of them.
To something significant, or whether we're going to sort of see what happened the other night with the man who was detained and then released, that I cannot tell you. But this the amount of resources here is massive. We saw dozens of SWAT members. We saw at least 2 SWAT trucks fully armored. There's the FBI that is now out here. There's the Pima County Sheriff's
Man, them
Office.
Cones is leaving
and
now,
there's
man.
At least I must have followed at least 24 sheriff's deputies and FBI cars into this neighborhood where I am now. So I wish I had more information. I have, again, confirmed that this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, that this is a SWAT operation, that they have pulled
Let me
2
see if
people
JLR
out.
is still
So
alive.
I wanted to
He may
wait
not
to
be.
come on until I
That man
knew
needs sleep.
that we were not putting any
Dude's still live,
law
bro.
enforcement in jeopardy like before they went
Still
in. They have
live.
already gone in, but we're just kind of waiting, Katie, to see how this plays out.
Brian, you say that there were 2 individuals who were pulled out by the Sheriff's Department, by the SWAT team. The SWAT team, just to clarify, is from the Sheriff's Department.
This dude, JLR, been live streaming so long. He's probably got like a Tesla wall battery with a solar panel on top of the car. Like, I didn't know you had that much energy in a car. Like, this dude has been live streaming for eternity. Wow, let's bring it up over here. Big shout out to JLR. You know what I love about JLR is that he does not mind people streaming his stream. And I'm very wary of that because I like to respect people and their intellectual property. And he is a mensch. He's out there like, no, stream my stream. Now, we're going to do that only with within reason. Regardless, he said you can stream his own stream. I'm not ever going to do that. I'm going to respect people's intellectual property because I want my intellectual property to be respected. But he's out there. He's not playing. He's not playing. He's probably taking a nap right now because I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Me too.
There we go.
I was talking to Dad's going live. The media started yelling at him. It's crazy. Saying he was messing up their live because he was talking. Me and him were talking. And then the media guy, when I was walking away, the media guy chewed him out.
Who, JLR?
Said, you know, you're talking in front of my live feed. He just said he's sorry. I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. You know, you gonna fight a guy or
But,
something?
I mean, come on, we're on the street.
Yeah.
That was the first time I really heard a media guy like really go at another person.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like passive aggressive half the time because I don't want to get into nothing. I'm traumatized. Like, if I'm gonna get into something, I gotta get into something. So I'm very passive. Like, all right, man, you got it, bro. My apologies. Person think they won, but I'm really protecting them. Like, you walking away like, yeah, I told his ass. Look at him. Big Maul F.R. I told him. Yeah, keep walking, guy. And you don't know, like, I'm protecting you from me. Let's keep going. Good job, JLR, being a bigger man, walking away. Good job.
No one was arrested and no one remains in custody following an operation in Tucson. Sources told Fox News that at least 3 people have been detained in connection to the search warrant conducted at a residence in Tucson late Friday, about 2 miles from the Guthrie's home. Photos gave a partial view of one man handcuffed and detained in the parking lot of the Culver's restaurant nearby in connection to the search warrant, but no charges were confirmed. Ex-FBI agent warns handcuffs don't necessarily mean arrest.
It does not.
As at least 3 detained in Guthrie probe.
That's right. These are felony stops
Former
and felony
Special
arrests.
Agent Nicole Parker tells Fox News that putting someone in handcuffs doesn't.
I just want to pause this here, just give you guys some information. They are conducting a violent felony investigation. That means every time they encounter somebody that they believe is a suspect, that person will go into handcuffs even though they're just being detained. So please understand that. So when you do a search warrant, everybody in the house gets detained and handcuffed. There's only one time that I've done a search warrant and an occupant of a house was not handcuffed. And that was when I did a search warrant on a house and the grandmother was bedridden inside of a hospital gurney inside of the house. So they brought the medical supplies to her and she was on a hospital issued gurney that was brought to the house and she could not leave the bed. And we did not handcuff her, of course not. And we spoke to her and rubbed her hand. She was very confused. We're like, everything is going to be okay. Your grandson is fine. Do you want us to bring you some orange juice? And we chit-chatted. And one person sat there and chit-chatted with her and smiled to her and cracked jokes with her and listened to her old stories and all that stuff while the rest of us tore that house up, and we found the gun. We found the gun, by the way. That was the only time we didn't handcuff everybody in the house. Other than that, everybody gets handcuffed. Okay? So that doesn't mean that they're arrested, because half the time they get unhandcuffed and let go. So please know that handcuffing these people is not indicative of we got them. And guess what? We didn't get them because they let these people go.
Necessarily mean that arrests have been made, as at least 3 people were detained in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. If you ever see people in handcuffs at a search, that doesn't mean they're under arrest and in custody. We put everyone in handcuffs, typically when we're clearing out a home and we're trying to maintain control of the scene. A Pima County SWAT team and FBI executed a search warrant at a Tucson area residence late Friday, approximately 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. A man was also detained in the parking lot at the Culver's restaurant in Tucson in connection to the warrant served on a nearby home. A total of at least 3 people have been detained in connection to the operation. New photos reveal a partial view of the man detained in the parking lot with handcuffs. A Range Rover was also searched and later towed from the lot. No charges have been announced. A Range Rover. See, this is what people were like going crazy on yesterday with the sheet. Some people were even like saying that's Nancy.
Yeah, I thought it was Nancy. Why would they do that?
What the heck?
Listen, I'll be the first to tell you. I was one of the people like, that's got to be Nancy if they got the sheet up like that. I don't know what's going on with my live. There we go. We're good.
Turn it into a cold case?
Don't say that, JLR. Don't say that.
What next?
Oh, boy. Don't say that. Because it's looking that way. How many more innocent people's houses we going to be breaking down to figure out we can't find Nancy? Where in the world is
I guess we'll
Nancy
drive back over to
Guthrie?
Nancy's.
Where in the world is Nancy Guthrie? She's like Carmen San Diego.
This is a Fox News alert. Matt Finn is on the ground in Tucson. He has breaking details on last night's police operation. Matt.
Hi, Kaylee. So Sheriff Nanos here in Pima County tells me that no one was arrested last night. No one is in custody at this hour in relation to all that law enforcement activity on the ground last night. I would caution that that's the update at this hour. This is obviously a very evolving situation. Law enforcement has already warned that people that they are questioning could later be arrested. So we know that someone was questioned and released earlier this week, but the sheriff says, hey, that person is not entirely cleared. So the latest update from the Pima County Sheriff is no arrests, no one in custody at this hour. Also, a takeaway here is that we are, starting to see a pattern where law enforcement, if they're focusing on a target, they may bring out all of the bells and whistles, the entire SWAT team, multiple law enforcement vehicles, maybe simply just to question someone because they don't want to run the risk of any type of backfire. So moving forward, if we see a lot of a SWAT team or law enforcement activity, it may simply be just to bring someone in for questioning. Now, also there is that other scenario or incident that was happening last night with a Range Rover that was ultimately impounded. The Pima County Sheriff's Office told us it cannot confirm that that was related at all to the Nancy Guthrie case. They weren't denying it was, but they are not confirming all that information you're seeing about the Range Rover.
They won't even confirm the Range Rover, ladies and gentlemen. That has something to do with Nancy Guthrie. Are you serious?
Was related to the Guthrie case. Again, that is the update at this hour. Perhaps the FBI will come out with something different. Kaylee.
Yeah.
Listen, man, Aki took the words out of my mouth. I swear to you, I put the hat on before I even saw her message. Y'all gonna get mad at me because y'all might say I'm joking, and maybe I'm joking, but it's a crude joke, but it's a joke that we got to make because they're not giving us no other choices. Maybe the aliens took her. I mean, they're in Arizona. They close to Area 51. Maybe the aliens took her.
And that fits the pattern of what we saw earlier in the week where there was questioning of an individual. We saw that SWAT team.
Let's ask Sheriff Thanos. Where's Nancy, Sheriff Thanos? The aliens took her.
And move, but it ended up just being a questioning that resulted in very little as you interviewed the sheriff. He essentially said that suspect, not a suspect rather, but that individual who was questioned is clear for now. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Now, but again, the sheriff says no one has been ruled out, and he's actually told me, look, that guy who we questioned, maybe we'll arrest him later on. He's confident with his alibi, and he was released. But the sheriff is urging that anybody that they're questioning or briefly detaining could be later arrested. And I also would, highlight that we haven't heard from the FBI in this matter. The statement that the sheriff initially released earlier was saying, we're holding off based on what the FBI is asking of us. So maybe the FBI will come out in a bit and give us something different.
Matt, keep us updated. Thank you.
All right, we're going to stop that there. Big shout out to JLR. We appreciate him. All the hard work he's doing
Fox
out there.
Digital that a warrant has been served and 3 people have been detained just about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, we know. It's not looking good. See what else we got going on. 2 more zips.
And a Fox News alert, we are monitoring a possible major breakthrough in the Nancy Guthrie case. A massive search is underway in Tucson with swarms of police spotted at the home 2 miles from missing 84-year-old's residence overnight.
Yeah, that's what I actually want to get. I want to get a night vision camera, a thermal night vision camera for my prepping stock, my emergency stock. They're very expensive though, but I want a thermal night vision camera.
I think we go straight into this top story because this is what so many people are following locally, but all around the country, even the world now, because it is making national news. It is the Nancy Guthrie search. It is continuing, and TMZ just a little bit ago posted some.
Art Deco $5 super says, and a Hispanic woman and her 2 kids kidnapped in Alabama. No one cares. I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't know about it. So please do send us the information, and we'll definitely look into covering it. We do care here, but we can't escape the fact that we're humans, and that this is a very big case. It's a salacious case because most likely this person, and I'm speaking on my arse right now, and I do want to cover it, so please send me the information. But most likely, if you have a Hispanic woman with 2 kids kidnapped, it's most likely somebody she knows. Whereas with this case, it's totally a stranger, as far as we know now, with a ransom, which is just insane. But yes, please do send us that information, and we'll cover it, and we'll show that love. All right, let's keep going.
Some new video. Right. Now, this is not video. I think it's important to point out, this is not video from Nancy's front door. It is surveillance video from a doorbell camera from about 6.5 miles away from Nancy's home. But this is weird. It is a guy. He backs up to the front door. He clearly does not want to be seen on the camera. Now, there is one little shot that you're going to see. Yeah. Now, he winds up getting chased away. We should go ahead and bring in TMZ.
Absolutely.
Brandon Cork joins us with some more details. I saw this video and immediately I thought, oh, is this Nancy's house? Not Nancy's house, but it's not too far away. And they're having people go through their cameras over the last month and just look for anything like this.
I'm Bugs Me says, $5 super chat says, ask Strategic, how could this case have played out differently? They hadn't publicized that it was Savannah's mother. Pros and cons thoughts. It's a good question. Since it's like our last exhibit, I'll definitely take the time to answer this for you. Basically, in many instances, how you start your case is how your case is going to end. Or it's not, let me just walk that back. Starting the case correctly makes the case a whole lot easier to investigate. It doesn't necessarily dictate how the case is going to end. So I give you an example. If I go on a scene and I have a victim who's telling me that they were a victim of sexual abuse. And I'm like, listen, when did this happen? It just happened. And I'm like, well, we'd like for you to go to hospital. So not only can they take care of your medical needs, make sure that you get on a cocktail so that you don't catch any diseases or anything like that, but we also would like to photograph and document any injuries you may have. And also we would like to make sure that you get a SOC kit done, which is a sexual assault evidence collection kit, so that we can get that DNA that might be inside of you that could link the person who committed this against you to the crime. It's rare, but it does happen where a person will say, I don't want to do that. Well, I believe you and I want to support you and I want to solve this case. But you've just now taken away a very big piece of evidence. So now if I can't corroborate your case through other investigative means that I can't talk about because I don't want to alert the bad guys, but one of them you might know about, which is like video evidence, but there's other things we need to do if you deny me that evidence, it makes your case very difficult to solve. So the case started out bad. So now it's going to be very difficult to get a resolution to that case because I've been denied large pieces of evidence, pictures, DNA, lab reports, doctors' reports, the whole nine. So now let's take that. Remember, that's my expertise. So now let's take that methodology and that thought process and let's go to this case. Nancy goes missing. Her family's alerted by a church friend because she doesn't go to the church friend's house so that they could do a group viewing of church services. The family comes to the house and very quickly after arriving at the house, they call 911. The police arrive. And what do we see? We don't know what they saw, but we know what we saw. And what we saw is what they should have saw. We saw blood everywhere. And we saw stuff that was tampered with that the family would know was tampered with, like a removed Ring camera. Or really, I'm saying Ring now, but it's a Google Nest camera. People keep calling it Ring, but it's a Google Nest camera. We see the weeds in the front. We called that out the moment we saw that video by Brian Enton. I stopped it. I went crazy. There's a YouTube short that Aki put out there to show you me reacting on day 2 or day 3 or something when Brian Enton walks up to the front of the house and I'm like, hold on, stop everything. This is a crime scene. Why is this not a crime scene? It took the police hours to transition this from a missing person, which is not a priority, to a kidnapping. If the police would have instantly, as soon as the family called them in and they saw the blood in the front of the house, the misplaced vegetation, and the stolen Ring camera, if they would have immediately said, everybody back out, this is a crime scene, I think this case would have started off to a much better foot. We would not have been missing 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. How much hours was it between the police coming and saying that this is a missing person to a kidnapping? Those few hours were crucial. They were crucial. And then if they would have immediately notified the FBI, and I'm going to tell you this, I work for a very robust police department that has a lot of resources. We recently worked a very, very heartbreaking sexual assault case with a minor. Heartbreaking. The person who caught the case was on my team. It was not my case, but I assisted in the case because we're team members. And so I did my part. All credit goes to that detective, though, for the amazing work that he did. Within hours, and we have way more resources than the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Within hours, I'm talking about 2 hours, we had the JTTF on board, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the FBI Task Force, and the violent FBI violent warrant people, the warrant squad people for the warrants. What do they call those guys? Oh man, what are the name of these dudes? They're not called warrants. They're called marshals. The Marshals Task Force. We had the JTTF Task Force, and we had the marshals assisting us. Technically, we didn't even need them. But just because they had resources, we called them in. And we were able to get this guy within 48 hours. Within 48 hours. So, I mean, if we who have more resources than Pima County can check our egos to the side and say, you know what, we're going to call in the big dogs. We need those resources. We're going to call in the big dogs so we could get this horrible individual off the streets. Come on, man. Pima County could have called in the FBI sooner. And I wholly and totally believe that Pima County is not working as well with the FBI as they should. Why do I believe that? Because notice that they did these hits on the house and on the cars, and the FBI came afterwards. If they were working hand in hand in conjunction with the FBI would have been on the scene when they did those hits with their SWAT teams. It is what it is, man. If I'm a police commander, right, I'm a sheriff. Because remember, I'm going to be running for Pima County Sheriff Department. I'm going to be running as their sheriff. Somebody got to buy me a big house. I want a big one with a pool. I want a big one with a pool. If you buy me a big house with a pool in Pima County, I will move out there. Aki needs one too, because I'm going to get lonely. So I got to have my sister out there. And then my mother need one too. Then my other sister. She don't be helping with the show. You don't be helping with the show. You better start helping with the show. My other sister. She don't even be watching all my episodes. She a bad sister. But I'm going to miss her too, because I'm going to miss my nephew. So we got to bring them down there too. So you got to buy us 4 houses. 4 houses, and I'll run for sheriff down in Pima County. If I'm running the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI is willing to send their SWAT team to go hit a house because we're working together, I'm going to protect my people. I don't want to sound funny because those FBI agents, their lives matter too. But I'm going to say, okay, yeah, no problem. You send your people over there. Because my job is to protect my officers. And it's also my job to use all available resources I can use to solve these cases. So if you're there, if Cash Patel is out there like, yo, we will give you all of our resources, I'm going to use those resources. I'm not going to send my SWAT guys out there to go hit these houses on these high risks. I know that's what they get paid to do. I know they're excited to do it. I know they're trained to do it. But I'm not sending my guys out there to do it if the FBI is willing to do it. Because I want to make sure my guys get home at the end of the day. And I also want to make sure that the case is solved and that Nancy's returned to her family. So I'm going to literally set up a task force. We're going to call it the Nancy Guthrie Task Force, where we're going to work hand in hand. We're going to get those sheriffs out of their cars. We'll get those FBI agents out of their cars, and it's going to be one sheriff deputy for every FBI agent in those cars together, going to those scenes together, walking those crime scenes together, doing those interviews together to get Nancy home. Full transparency, full cooperation, egos checked at the door, because what matters most is the victims. And I'm not asking for anything that I have not done in my own career. I've done it myself. I've done it with the FBI. I've done it with Homeland Security. I've done it with the Justice Department Southern District when I've done cases with them. I've done it with local law enforcement agencies that work within the confines of my state. I've done it with the New York State Police, New York State Troopers, New York State BCI, Port Authority Police, MTA Police. I've done it. Amtrak Police, I've done it. You got to check your ego to the door. Because it's not your family on the line. It's not your daughters, your mothers, your sisters, your friends on the line. It's the victims and their families, and we swear to serve them. That's what we do. We don't swear to show our balls, our cojones. We're paid to serve the people. You pay to see egos from your sports stars, your LeBron James and your Bill Belichick's. We like to see that bravado. You don't want to see bravado from your cops. You want to see professionalism. You want to see synergy. You want to see teamwork. That's what you want to see. What I'm seeing here is shameful.
This dude right here, right?
Right. The FBI is asking anyone and everybody in the area to be looking at their cameras, whether that be their Ring doorbell camera, the Nest camera from January 1st to January or all the way to February 1st, the early morning hours, obviously, when Nancy Guthrie was taken. This new specific video that's come out, obviously, you see the face and the head blurred in the video, but this is 6.5 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. And this specific video was posted on the Ring Neighbors app on January 23rd.
Somebody telling me it's hard to take me seriously with my hat on. This hat is giving me protection. You don't got to believe it. You don't got to believe me. This hat is giving me protection. Y'all gonna think I'm playing when them aliens come, man. Well, okay.
That's about 7 days before Nancy Guthrie was taken in the early morning of February 1st. And we talked to a high-ranking official in the FBI, and they tell us that this is absolutely being looked at right now. We know that the person that was inside of the home said that this man came up to the home, rang the doorbell, obviously saw the camera, unclear if that's what he was doing when he saw the camera, but then backed away immediately upon being seen, and then he fled the scene with the dogs barking and everything. Again, a week before, they're looking at everything. You really can't put it past them right now.
So here's my question for
Whoa,
you.
whoa. Aki, block Rachel Burton right now. She said the aliens don't exist. Oh my God. Oh my God. Blasphemy. Block her.
Why is his face blurred? This guy's clearly up to no good. He does look like he has dark hair and a dark goatee, which is kind of what they said they were looking for. But why did they put this video out with his face blurred?
Well, you have to be very careful, obviously, with identification purposes, because if someone is not involved in the case whatsoever, it could be a conflict of interest. It could be very dangerous for that person. We know that the last video that we got sent to us yesterday, the second video of this other man going up to the gate, this was just, I believe, 20 minutes before Nancy Guthrie was believed to be taken on the timeline. This other video, not far from her as well, they also blurred it because
somebody said their leader is Sheriff Thanos. That's funny.
This person could be cleared at some point. Right now, we're told by FBI that person as well is still being looked at. That video is still in play, as well as this one. And of course, the other person who was detained for several hours and then released after questioning, the delivery driver recently, which they had a lead on apparently. They have to be very careful with identification purposes.
I think I understand that if like the other guy was, I think he was throwing trash away or something like that. Like that one makes sense. For me, this guy's clearly up to no good. So, just curious in that case. As far as what happened yesterday when we were on the post, we saw that huge white tarp go up in front of the family, the tent right here that you see. And then it later came down. What did we learn about that? What was going on during that time?
Right, so they put up this tent above the porch area for a temporary time during the day. It is believed that they were doing some testing, forensic testing, under that tent. I can't say everything they were doing under there because we don't have that information right now, but it's believed that they were testing the blood that was on that porch area in the front. As we know, they found blood on the inside of the home and on the outside of the home, and there is footage of that blood on the front of the home, and it was confirmed that it was that it belonged to Nancy. I don't know exactly why they were looking at that area again, but when it comes to forensic testing, they have to create that environment, and that's why that tent came up and then came up shortly after that. But they are also looking at that glove that is shortly down the road, the black latex glove that is still pending DNA testing right now as well.
And speaking of that,
all right, so we're definitely going to get a lot. I mean, hopefully we'll get a DNA profile. The thing is, the person have to have been arrested and their DNA has to have been submitted in CODIS for us to be able to say, okay, this DNA matched this suspect. But at the very least, we'll get some DNA profiles that they can keep on file. And as they continue their investigation and they find more evidence, they can test those pieces of evidence for DNA and start to see if these profiles are showing up more often. And hopefully one day, if they get a suspect, we can then get a DNA sample from the suspect, a control sample, and then submit that against what they have inside of their database. and then get a match. So we'll see what's up with that. There, you can also do ancestral matches. That is definitely possible. Good one, Xian 239. It's the genealogy one is very expensive though, and it takes time. So it could take weeks and months to get the genealogy done, but it is definitely a lead. Definitely a lead. I'm sorry.
You
Keep
speak
going.
it all to
And Rachel Burton, I'm just joking with you. We're not trying to block you. I think she's like, please don't block me. We would never block you just for saying aliens aren't real. I mean, you'll figure that out one way or another in the future. It's all good. It's all good. It's all love. My nose is getting very, very stuffy again. We're about to end the live soon. I'm just going to go off screen real quick so I can take care of that, and then we'll finish up. You got it.
These alleged conflicts that are going on, but with the glove between the sheriff's department and the FBI, that there's allegedly some kind of disagreement happening between them.
Right. So the disagreement that we know about in terms of details is that the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff District are completely clashing right now over how this testing of DNA is being handled. We know the FBI wants to send it to their offices for testing, and the Pima County Sheriff District wanted to send it off to Florida for testing. So there's a clash among the investigation in terms of how each department feels this should be handled. We were talking about it this morning. In terms of the FBI, in movies, when the FBI shows up, you've seen it, they come in, they kind of just take over the investigation. That's how it usually works. And usually the sheriff department and the FBI, it's very possible to come to heads, to clash over this, because there are so many people working on this that they all have different opinions on where things should go in terms of the investigation.
Well, and they all want to be the one to solve the case, so much so that the FBI has now increased the reward, and maybe that's helping because they're getting a ton of leads right now.
Right, and yesterday they actually released a statement, the FBI giving a detailed description, confirmed description of the alleged suspect in that first video that went around of the masked man walking up to Nancy Guthrie's home. They said that it's believed to be 5'9" to 5'10" in terms of height. And I meant to say that as well with the tent. They were also testing, they believe to be the height of the person by using the porch. And again, 5'9" to 5'10". A male is the gender they are saying right now, and as well they were able to confirm the backpack that was on his person. We know they were looking at the items on him, 3 items specifically: the backpack, the clothing, and then also the holster on his body as well. All
right, so we end that there. We are approaching 2 hours. I gotta go spend some time with the kids. Oh man, definitely very interesting coverage today. A lot of questions. We had the issues with the whole unaliving thing. I think we kind of squared that away. The issue of the fact that these folks who allegedly were taken in, no, it's not alleged, they were certainly detained. It appears that they were released. Now the Pima County Sheriff's Department won't even acknowledge that the Range Rover Sport that was taken as evidence is even connected to Nancy Guthrie. This is bananas, ladies and gentlemen. This is bananas. This case is so far out there, and we're going so far into left field, I don't think we can't discount that maybe the aliens took Nancy. I mean, seriously, this is crazy. It's bananas. And the lack of professionalism that we're seeing coming out of Pima County, where they're not properly informing the public, this is a public case. And you need the public to solve this case. This is not some investigation. Some investigations you have to do on the low. This is a case where you literally need the public to be engaged in it, because it's the public that's going to lead you to the culprits. You need people to be engaged. You need people to be checking their cameras. You need people to be looking at their neighbors. You need people to remember where they were on Sunday when this all started. And so you have to educate the public, and they're not properly educating us with what's going on. And it seems like they're chasing every single lead with full force, and it's throwing everything off. And if you're the kidnappers right now, you're thinking, I got away with it, because they're no closer to finding me. Because if they'd have found me, they'd have found me yesterday. So I don't know. We'll keep following this. If more things come out, we'll come out. There's some things I want to do today. I want to go back and I want to talk about the Tyler Thomas case. Read through those horrible text messages that were found on his phone. We wanted to do a part 2 because it was just too much to read in that part 1 we did yesterday. So we're going to talk about that today as well. This case is a priority for me, though. So if something comes out with this case, we will lead with this case. I'm also interested in the case that Art Deco was letting us know about the mother who was kidnapped with 2 of her children. I'm interested in that case as well. So if anybody has any information on that, let me know. And we'll keep we'll keep doing what we do here, getting a voice to the voiceless. To everybody who's new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to us yet. Active duty special victims detective here, and we're basically going through these cases from a detective's point of view. And if you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button now and support the channel so that we could get into the algorithm and the channel could grow and be shown to a wider audience. To everybody who gave us a super chat, we want to say a big thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Let's go ahead and make sure that we read all these super chats so we don't miss anybody. I'm gonna start from the top. Lacey with a 199 super chat says, happy Valentine's Day, strategic in chat. Thank you so much. Lucid Visionary Girl, $5 super chat says, thank you for all your hard work online and at work. You're appreciated. Kimberly 1428, 5 months as a White Shield member, says bring her home. Thank you. Looney is now a recruit member. Welcome to the family. Miss Rue with a $20 super chat says, good morning all. Thank you, strategic and mods. Hashtag Bonnet Gang. Aura Moon $5 super chat says, here, this is for donuts for your sister. Thank you so much. Posh Pepper Creations with 3 months as a recruit. Thank you so much. Behind Blue Eyes, $2 super chat says, thanks for all your hard work and dedication. Thank you for supporting me and for joining me today. Edith celebrating 9 months as a recruit member. We appreciate you. It's a part of our Strategic Eyes family. Art Deco, let us know about that Hispanic mother who was kidnapped with her 2 children. We'll definitely look into that as soon as we get the information. Crime Bugs Me with a $5 super chat says, as strategic, how could this case have played out differently if they had publicized that it was Savannah's mother? Pros and cons thoughts. We answered that. And we definitely think that it doesn't matter what the social status of Nancy was. Due to the salaciousness of this case, this would be a breaking news case. This would be a national case. So I think it definitely helped that her daughter was Savannah Guthrie. But due to the fact that this is an 84-year-old woman who was spirited away from her home, and now that we got ransom notes coming in, I think that this case would have been national regardless. And Bridget Freeman is now a recruit member. Welcome to the family. For everybody else who is watching this show, please make sure you like the show and you leave a comment. Let us know where you're calling from. We'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace. Time to get some Tim Hortons.